All right, guys, getting into the Saturday night showdown between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm trying to give you guys the top picks and plays for that game, although it is it's a game, and I'll touch on that. Let's go. So starting with the Las Vegas Raiders, the thing is, it's like a simple lineup process in terms of like who you want to be on. Obviously, you want to be on Deontay Adams. Sure. Last two games, a little bit of duds, but he is someone that, especially given the matchup, could easily go out and really just break the slate. You could somewhat make the argument that, captain or don't play. I could see that as a logical way to go about it, but that makes the rest of your build very difficult. Okay, so it is kind of like the George Kittle rule, where if you're playing Kittle, you're playing him in the captain spot. I do somewhat feel like that with Davante Adams. At the same time, it's tough. It's very difficult. Obviously, the highest priced player on the slate. Then we got Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs has just been a stud, extremely consistent. It's so annoying, the Raiders, because it's either going to be probably Davante Adams or Josh Jacobs going off. It's as simple as that. Last week against the Patriots, tough matchup, still had 25 total opportunities, still played a ton. Okay, sure, he lost a fumble, but still was able to get double-digit DK points and was only 7 yards shy of the 100-yard bonus, 1 yard shy of the 100-yard bonus against the Rams. He is someone that, yes, maybe he's getting a little tired on the season, but at the same time, I still think we want to be trying to play him. So, simply put, you want to be on Adams, you want to be on Jacob, okay? Can you be on Derek Carr? That's the biggest question I have on the slate. If he's going to be throwing the ball almost 40 times, yeah, you want to be on him. But he has been extremely unappealing in terms of a ceiling. He's really not breaking slate. But this is the difficult part. It's if you are playing Adam and Jacobs, just given how involved Jacobs can be in the passing game, you kind of do want to be playing Derek Carr, which makes the slate difficult. And also, you got Darren Waller back. Darren Waller played 49% of the snaps last week. That number is most likely going to go up again, maybe to 60% of the snaps. Obviously, Darren Waller had a spectacular touchdown catch. He'd be someone that you would want to play. You got Matt Collins, given the price point, given the recent production, he has had a strong, safe floor for the past month or so. If we can lock in 8 DK points at 6.6, I would take that. And given the fact that he's just on the field so much, it's tough to imagine him really hurting you. He is kind of the natural player to not be on them, just given roster construction. Okay, same thing with Darren Waller. It's tough to fit those guys into a build. Then we look at Hunter Renfro. He is going to be back. Okay, Keelan Cole had been someone that was getting a decent amount of snaps, but that pretty much changed last week with Hunter Renfro back. Keelan Cole only saw 29% of the snaps, whereas Renfro saw 43. So I don't think we can play kind of really either of them, to be honest with you. Keelan Cole, just probably too cheap. Too cheap for the snaps he had been playing, but at the same time, if we're only getting maybe 30, maybe. And I say maybe because you kind of expect Renfro snaps to go up a little bit more. Then it's difficult. Amir Abdullah could get some work in the passing game and get you 4 DK points, but he's priced up too much. So we can't really play him. So what are we doing? We're probably trying to load up on the Steelers, which is what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so let's get into the Steelers. Najee Harris, I feel like a lot of people owe him an apology because he has been impressive on the tail end of this season, especially being a little bit injured. And, maybe he's just been more injured this season than we all thought, but look better. A touchdown in 4 out of his 5 last games, which is also appealing. Over 10 DK points in all those games. The Raiders are a team in which you do want to be attacking the running back with, but I feel like Harris is a little bit too priced up, and he is only playing about 66% of the snaps because Jalen Warren has been eating into that snap share. And it was finally last week where he got a lot of touches as well, playing in about 34% of the snaps. So if Jalen Warren's going to be getting about 30 to 40% of the snaps, but also going to be adding 10 plus touches, he is someone you could potentially think about. I don't think I want to go that route, though. The simple route I want to go is we're looking at, Deontay Johnson. He is just kind of the standout play, I think, on the slate, given the price point. Just simply way too cheap. I mentioned on a different video, I said, Keenan Allen, if he's on a slate, I'm pretty much just playing him. Chris Godwin, if he's pretty much on a slate, I'm pretty much playing him. Deontay Johnson, given how he's always priced, it's like you can't not love Deontay Johnson because he's always priced too cheap. It just seems to be the case. And that's the case again today. Going to play about 80% to 90% of the snaps, getting targeted heavily. Okay. An extremely consistent producer. And so we can get we can get Deontay Johnson for 1,400 more than Matt Collins. That's kind of crazy to me. The number one option in this offense, you want to be playing him. It's just as simple as that. Okay, then with George Pickens, prime time game. Can he step up and have a good game? Sure. More of a shoulder shrug play, but once again, I'd rather play him at $800 or $200 more than Matt Collins. And so that's where Collins is tough to land on, and even Darren Waller. Pickens does make a lot of sense. So if we are going to be playing a bunch of those players that are out there, we have to find some value. If we're going to be paying up for the studs, we have to find some value. I would say Steven Sims is going to be the route that you want to go. Sims has been playing about 40% of the snaps since Chase Claypool has been traded, and they've been manufacturing some touches his way, which on a showdown slate, if you can lock in just points, that's huge. Now, obviously, we're not expecting anything big, okay? But if we can get 2 catches and 2 carries for maybe 20 yards total, I would take that. That's 4 points right there. At a very cheap price tag, he opens up a lot. And I have been defaulting to him as kind of that play. If we can get 40% of the snaps from him, I will take that. One weird thing that the Steelers have been doing is playing a lot of 2 tight end sets. Pat Freiermuth and Zach Gentry both playing a lot. Maybe Zach Gentry gets a very cheap, one of those designed touchdowns to a blocking tight end if they get to the goal line. That could happen. Obviously, not something you want to chase, but you can make a logical build by chasing that, I guess, like 10% of builds, but use that how you'd want to. And so we do have a lot of salary left over with this specific build. And like, if I could fit Matt Collins into this build, I'd feel pretty good about it. Obviously we can't, so probably need to make an adjustment. So here's another ugly build while trying to fit the top 4 scorers on the slate, that being Adams, Jacobs, Deontay Johnson, and probably Derek Carr. Then you're forced into like Steven Sims and then Pat Freiermuth, who had a goose egg last week. That's the issue that we're having. The lineup path is going to be the issue. Okay. And I will say, like, you do want to try to fit Adams or Jacobs, I think, into your captain spot. And if you can't do that, you want it to be Deontay Johnson. There's no great way to fit all the studs. And so if you're trying to play Davante Adams, you're most likely going to have to throw in a terrible play like Gunner, who, you're just hoping for 1 point really from him, 1 catch, playing about 20% snaps. Like, could that happen? Sure. Now, if you go Jacobs, that opens up a little bit more. Then you could go Gentry. Now, if you could fit Keelan Cole in there, that'd be even better. That's the biggest issue I'm having on the slate, is that obviously we do want to pay up for the stud Raiders players because the chances of them like breaking the slate are really great. So it's difficult to make like a very strong logical build. This is very much not a slate that I want to be chasing too much. And so one last build you could do is either go Abdullah, hoping for some work in the passing game, or Keelan Cole, hoping that those snaps continue to be there for you. Okay, not great. There's not a great lineup path. Some slates are just like this, guys. I wish I could give you guys like, boom, hard hitting, this is going to win you money lineup advice each and every week. Sometimes the best advice is knowing when you don't love a slate. Honestly, like, that's just half the battle, I feel like. And so that's going to be the slate. Now, obviously that's going to be the case for like everyone. Okay. So it's going to be difficult for everyone to make a good build. And so I would say like it does make sense to attack it in GPPs because everyone's going to have that difficulty of putting together a great build. That's kind of goes with the nature of the slate. And I didn't mention any of the kickers. If you want to play the kickers, you certainly can. I just hate touching on kickers. I hate touching on defense. Okay. It does make sense to play them. Okay. That's all I have for you guys. Let's have a good slate. Merry Christmas. And as always, let's keep cashing.